Running, we're back for Saturday action in Spain. Ahead of the Barcelona Catalunya Grand Prix, our second European round sees us return to a track known as an all-rounder. Gone are the barriers of Monaco. Hello to the gravel and runoff here at the Circuit de Catalunya. It's round 7 and this is a track steeped in history and one all drivers know inside out. Just over 4.6 kilometers, 2.8 miles in length, 14 turns, medium to high-speed corners, the overtake detection point just before that final corner, and a remarkable elevation change. It was hot yesterday, and that continues into today, having an effect on the tyres as well. Pirelli going one step softer than last year with the C2 hard, the C3 medium, and the C4 soft. The heat, so much a factor, could actually have an impact on qualifying later on this afternoon. But before that, we have one final practice session. Welcome to Free Practice 3. It's Harry Benjamin with you up in commentary. Alongside me once again is Karun Chandok. Last chance then, Karun, for our drivers to get properly dialed in before we go qualifying. Yeah, really important session. The track temperature has been rising throughout the weekend, and today already just walking on the paddock, you can feel it. So today it's going to be all about trying to make sure you can keep the rear tyres alive for the final sector of the lap. It does seem like this has become a real limited track for this weekend. In the past, there were lots of concern about the front left tyre, and but this weekend, with these extreme temperatures, just speaking to engineers in the paddock, it looks like it's all about protecting the rears for Sector 3. Well, we could see it yesterday a bit in Free Practice 2 with Kimi Antonelli on the Mercedes. His front left, literal marbles and rubber breaking off that tyre, such as the degradation impact. Teams up and down the field struggling with that. Could end up being almost like a one-shot qualifying that we might get later on this afternoon. So with all that in mind then, Karun, with the final practice, what are the drivers going to try and get out of this session? So this is all about getting prepared for qualifying. It's incredibly important here to qualify well. Statistically, it's more important to qualify well here than it is in Monte Carlo, despite the fact that, as you said, we got a big wide open track with grass and gravel and not barriers close by. But 32 out of the last 35 winners here have come from the front row of the grid. That's 91% roughly. So, yeah, statistically, as I say, more important than any other track on the F1 calendar. Yeah, only 3 have not been won from the front row. So that just underlines that excellent stat, Karun. Max Verstappen with all the fans in the grandstand, and of course, I think mainly for the Spaniards out there, though, Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso, each with their own grandstands, feeling the home support. We have been talking a lot about the heat. We actually can't really feel it in the commentary box because we have air conditioning, but I'm pretty sure Ted Kravitz can feel it out in the pit lane. Ted?
Hello, Harry. Hello, Karun. Hello, everybody. Yes, welcome to the pit lane. Sunny in Spain. Who would have thought it, eh? But yeah, listen, you can't feel the heat through television, so take our word for it. But nothing strange, nothing unusual. So I'm here with my friends from the Pit Lane Patrol. And I don't know what you think, Karun, as someone who frequents the pit lane now and again. I'd quite like that on my tabard, actually. Pit Lane Patrol. Can I get Pit Lane Patrol written on my tabard? I do like that, because I will be patrolling the pit lane, not only today, not only in qualifying, but in the race, because I might be quite a busy person. I think we said towards the race so far in 2026 with the most pit stops, possibly 3 for each car. And yes, you've been talking about it so far, but the story of the weekend has been so far, OMG, what are we going to do about these tyres? And how are we going to get these tyres under control? And that's the question that all of these teams have been thinking about overnight. They've been sent the message from the track yesterday to the factory, OMG, what are we going to do about these tyres? Not only how are we going to keep them alive over one lap, but more to the point, how are we going to keep them alive over a race stint distance, whether that's a 2-stop pushing to a 3. They don't really want to do a 3. You do lose a lot of time. But then if you're forced into a 2-stop, then it's all going to be about managing the tyres against somebody potentially on a more aggressive strategy. So these cars have been set up overnight to look after their tyres like there is no tomorrow. But of course, Harry, there is a tomorrow. It's called the Bar will win. And it might not. This car has shown that it does. It is kind on its tyre.
Lando Norris, who topped one of the sessions for McLaren season.
It's quite funny, isn't it? We're into and all this sort of stuff. We're back to talking about tyres.
There, and we've got the whole trifecta. I mean, talk of McLaren as well. They get a penalty replacing key permissible power unit on both cars. So some issues over the course of this season. Mercedes supplying them to this weekend further.
See, I'd be surprised to see lots of these people. Unsurprisingly, to me, Cadillac have gone on their first ever Grand Prix here.
Why we say so much about all the drivers the teams known down test right at the start of the year, which not all the teams made. Bottas being one of them, who we can see in the day yesterday, was almost a second clear of his team. Had the competitive on the soft tyre, but Bottas
dragging on the ground a little bit more, wasn't it? Bottas's car, you see, dragging along the ground a bit more than.
7 drivers scheduled to take part in FP1 in terms of Hadjar was on, missed that, and then we also had Kimi Antonelli back for a weekend.
I think on previous years, probably not a lot. I think going on with the cars, every week that the drivers get in the car, there's lots changing every time you get right before qualifying. I think it does have in recent form has been ahead of George. He's been ahead. Harder for him to deliver a lap time, and
I've second adrift of Lando Norris's quickest time at the end of FP. The Mercedes of George Russell, who is in need of a good weekend. And over at Haas, looks like he's about to get there. An actually decent run as well yesterday. Responsible for 18 of Haas's points.
But yeah, it was 5 drivers, wasn't it? With pace 11 to 15. So
to his garage, and to Monaco seemed like the tipping point. Moving this, we're using Brembo calipers as the surround, and there for Alpine, getting his podium and third.
Very good engineer, Josh. Very practical, very pragmatic. This is where people sometimes forget because they're bringing the podium back. But the race engineers who work patient on a Sunday night and back up, and I was very for the team around Pierre as well.
Too much action out on track so far. Just the two. The car not responding, and Bailey gets out on track with just Perez. Sun is really beating down the umbrella to the pit lane, and the sun is really out grandstands. Can't imagine what it's like in the cockpit.
Cars driving around because you get breeze blowing through it. When you even for a little front wing change, you get that heat. So battery below you, there's just so much heat. Ed, I can see you out of our window in the sun. I can.
Well, worry not, because little information about a chassis change that had to stay late and break the curve. They just saw some discrepancies in the data and then replaced the individual components. So that's why good for him. I have a what's happened.
Trophy, Ted.
It's still not here. And so they the trophy in it, going from Stansted or Luton to its own seat, because they didn't want to pick it today. That's the update from today, Karun. Where's the trophy? It's ours.
Yeah.
It's not here yet.
I would have up to Milton Keynes, picked it up, gone to the airport, gotten a trophy away, are they? But
well, they should. No, they're working on the big handover. Maybe we can do some kind of handover.
Maybe.
We'll make a big song.
We're talking about this because, and it turns out there was an error in the first. So Isaac Hadjar
might not be the last we hear of it either, as we understand Red Bull and they still are within the 90s, the actual appeal, but obviously Red Bull not happy at listed, but Mercedes the biggest losers really from pulling well outside the points and picking up absolute bags and points, and he wouldn't be sitting 68.
Sadly, I just don't see how they're going to get. Obviously they shouldn't have served it in the race and tried to argue the toss. They made a decision which
Isaac Hadjar looks like he's in the zone. Step out on track, still only of them with a 1:18.4 on the medium track action. Everyone's standing by, ready and waiting.
They just want to be careful about the mileage they do, because the tyres around, you can get a bit lost as well, because the session is to get the car set up in the right. Now, if you start driving around on tyres that are too much, then when you put the new tyres on direction for qualifying. So that's just make sure they remember the big picture, which is
practice start for Nico Hülkenberg. Brilliant result here last year, didn't he, Hülkenberg, in the but big points haul for Hülkenberg, still searching for his first point.
Got a point.
I think they impressed a lot of people, didn't they?
Got a point early on. I think the car has some decent speed as a midfield qualifier around the top 10. 11 seems to be need to convert that into points.
And pit box, Ted.
Out, and now they are coming out. Interestingly, we're seeing used one of his hard sets of tyres yesterday. He wasn't very happy with them, as I remember. Later in the weekend, Lance Stroll also going to the weekend, save the moments in you for the, can we award a new prize for with the fully lit box? I mean, this is the most brightest day, one of the most bright-rated pit box continues. I know this is the best use of energy, but they're persisting with the layer where you might want an already well-lit pit lane. Audi, you're certainly committing to something. When you start it, you're going to commit.
I would want to have a look at their electricity bill. When it comes to their pit stops, Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. About this track being an all-rounder track, and that's because the weaknesses that you have in a Formula One car.
Adoring fans in the Fernando Alonso to see if he can drag himself out of Q1. It'll be a miracle, I heard him say on the. Still so popular with the crowd here.
For Alonso, still his last win in time ago now, then in red. Now at least a few more races, no significant ones at the very round turn 3.
Yeah, had a snap coming out of that. That compromised him straight away. So he's been
is quick in sector 1.
Yes, a middle sector, but yeah, Norris hits. So Lando out on a set of the Ferraris waiting. Look, they're waiting. Verstappen and Hadjar waiting.
Long runs in yesterday and still very quick on the soft tyre. A little further back behind, used to his new brakes. Carbon Industry told a little towards 4. Bit of traffic in front of him. Gets nicely to 1:16.6 on his first run. And 8, we're seeing so many cars, certainly yesterday, have that bump, but Leclerc controls it nicely. And
yeah, when he got the apex of 10, the rear of the car wasn't with it. Let's listen in. Second fastest, but feels like the comparison to yesterday, there was a 15 time in FP2.
We'll see what Oscar Piastri's Co2 certainly ended up the better of, in my opinion. You know, hasn't had the best of Australia, but after fighting for the championship year, but McLaren still a way off. But breakish starts a lap around this Barcelona circuit.
Chucks it in to that first apex. Lines there, and it's trying to find the right compromise. It was very strong at turn 3 and is a little bit down in sector 1, nearly into 7, and looks pretty calm at Oscar Piastri. So this is an early Lando Norris. Has he saved a bit of grip? Because we saw him yesterday, Harry, at this corner on his attack, the final sector. Because we saw him yesterday, Harry, at the time, and even on the last corner he was a bit down time. So yeah, a bit off today.
This will be interesting though, won't it? Because if he has just sets that we're experiencing, the tyres will allow him to go for one warm-up lap and one push lap out of those.
Was not happy yesterday. He kept the pace nearly 9/10. So as the Williams pit wall. So James, how is
not sure if at all.
It started in not the best fashion yesterday.
Slightly better, but not.
Carlos Sainz was talking about very high degradation. Feedback from Carlos so far.
It was 50 degrees, so as soon as you start doing that, it just we've made some changes to get it more balanced between the front and the.
Is this a bit of a surprise struggle?
Sadly, this was one of the ones we got some bits that aren't quite there yet.
Based on what we've seen in a 2-stop race, are you thinking it's going to trickle over that?
Won't be enough good tyres to make it work. So I think you're going to see stop stints. But when you go to the soft, which is what you're going to need.
You in on this? I know you've got a question for James.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know that's quite an old hat that you stored on your hat rack. Verstappen, who tried out the hard tyre yesterday, was when you look at Max Verstappen, who tried out the set of hard tyres on, how do you think that picture looks?
The initial bit is it's got a lot of sliding, a lot of overheating. It wasn't great. They've obviously got a better package, I think, generally.
Postponement of Bahrain, this is really rather than energy management.
Right, this is where we're going to see big degradation, and we haven't.
Across the weekend, thank you so much for your time, and better times down there for Williams.
Yeah, it does. I mean, both characteristics of the Williams at the moment, a bit overweight. Both characteristic corners where you got to carry a lot of lateral load. You got to an extra 10, 15 of the load you're putting in the tyre compared to someone else who's.
What's going on with their car this week?
Tyre.
Continue to try and figure out what's going on with their. Puts a competitive lap time on the board yet.
At the exit of the corner. So as if he went into almost at the exit curb, which was a bit unusual. But it's across the line, about half a second down on the short runs and in the quali runs.
From the top runners, he was missed out in free practice 1 in a weekend floor, the diffuser and the side pods on the soft tyre, but Leclerc up there in 4th at the moment.
Lewis getting out of the way there, so this is his on the front tyre. Look at that, the middle of the tyre of that Ferrari. He's got a little bit of correction up bit down. So I think, as we saw yesterday, they go at sector 1 on the soft tyre, but by the does seem, unsurprisingly, in these temperatures.
Q3, one-shot qualifying. They expect them one and done, and that's all they get. They don't.
So they get, you know, the top teams will try and get. Gasly might need to wheel out an extra set of tyres in Q2.
Really high on their hopes after practice. Yes, down into turn 1, the latest name to reach, as we've been hearing, got the trophy. Yellow flag out on track. He is on the exit of 11, and he is.
I wonder if he's just gone into 10 a bit too quick to try it, but he's just digging. This could be the end of his session, really.
Yeah,
I think this could be the end of his session, really.
Whereas visor up, and he's not going. Unfolded for the fin, but steering wheel out, minutes running.
As you said, it's been a better weekend. He had a snap there.